time and space to give yourself a break. Here you'll find some love, music, laughter, and above all, she'll dare to tell the truth. And so come to Granny's place and give your spirit a big boost.
Welcome to Granny's Place, where Granny offers commentary, answers your personal questions, and plays the piano, all with a twinkle in her eye, love in her heart, and a delightful sense of humor. With amazing insight and a gorgeous grand piano. If you don't know Granny Rocks, she's also known as Beth Green, commentator, improvisational pianist, intuitively guided counselor, longtime social activist, author of 6 books and 4 CDs of original music, and founder of the innerrevolution.org. And she's here for us every Wednesday starting at 6:15 p.m. where she raps on the news and continuing at 6:30 at Granny's Place. And so now without further ado, here's Granny.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Good to see you. So last week we did a very special Granny's Place where it was the election special, and we didn't have the set, and I didn't have the piano, and I missed my piano. And so everything was different, and we never got to anybody's questions because I did all commentary on the election. But today we're going to try to do a little of this, a little of that, you know. We are basically a one woman plus sidekick variety show here.
That's it.
So I'm going to be answering your questions, and those are questions from last week that I didn't get to. So take it away, Beth. I'm the one who's supposed to start it with the commentary. Oh my God, I've already blown it. And by the way, also, I have my scarf here for those of you who are in the know. That means that Madame Mazurka is going to be showing up. I said she might show up last week, but she's going to show up. Madame Mazurka is a dead Transylvanian psychic who answers questions when they are addressed to her, and we have a question today addressed to Madame Mazurka. So when I put that scarf on, there's no more Granny Rocks. There's no more Beth Green. There's only Madame Mazurka. Okay, so why don't you ask me what I want to talk about today?
What would you like to talk about today, Granny?
Well, I don't know about you, but this week I have breathed a sigh of relief. Did you?
Yeah.
I mean, in the weeks leading up to the election, it's not just that it's a tense time, but it was a particularly tense time this time because we didn't know which way things were going to go. And we still don't really. But we do know something, and this is what I want to talk about. It felt like we were going on a march to total meltdown as a society, total breakdown. You know, people in antagonism, in fear, and in anger. Now, one of the things we know is that fear is underneath all of our craziness, right? Well, it's underneath mine, but I think it's underneath yours. I think it's pretty much underneath everybody's. And things were so vicious. So it's not just our president, but I have to say that our president was one of the vicious in chiefs. And because he was out there really trying to get people angry and afraid so that they would rely on him for leadership, right? I mean, it doesn't matter how much he lies, which is he does all the time. But what he needed to do was to get people scared enough to put him in charge. And that's what he liked. See, I consider him an example of the ego run amok. It's like, it's I. It's always about me, and it's about, oh, look at me. So there's the look at me part, and then there's, I did that. And then there's the, I didn't do that. No. I didn't do that. Oh, no. I'm strong. I'm strong. I'm manly. I've got the world on a string. I'm in charge, right? And so a lot of people were attracted to that. Now some were attracted to his policies, but a lot were just attracted to the feeling that, oh, finally we have a strong man and he's in charge. We can all relax. Well, except those of us who didn't like what he was doing, who stopped relaxing, and it just became a time of constant stress. So we didn't know whether he was going to, build up more momentum, or whether there was going to be a pause in some of the fear-mongering, the lying, and the craziness. Well, we got the pause, didn't we? The pause won. Well, the pause won, but that doesn't mean we know where we're going. It just means, we can take a breath. We can take a breath. We can take a breath. We can say, okay, now what? What are we going to do now? Because it's not enough to just stop the descent. It is important to start building something better, because there's a lot of people who have been supporting this approach, not necessarily because they support the policies, but because they felt that the current administration was looking after them and going to keep them safe. Now, some of that is just pure fear that was exploited by this regime. I mean, that fear was there from before. I talked about that last time, about how ever since Barack Obama was elected, oh my God, there were white people who felt like, oh, the world is coming to an end, the world is coming to an end, they are invading us. It's just like, oh, all of these Hondurans are invading us. We need the army. We have 5,000 men going down there, or men and women, I assume, and barbed wire and all kinds of stuff in order to stop this invading. Okay, all right, I read it, I get it.
Yeah, the vast majority of whom are women and children.
Right, the invading army.
And grandparents.
Really, the invading army. But anyway, I'm not saying that there aren't issues around immigration that don't need to be sorted out, but I'm saying the fear-mongering about it made it unsort-outable. But see, there was a lot of people who were afraid that minorities are going to take over, that gays are taking over, that trans are taking, that bis are taking over, and then they look at the election results, and guess what? Gays are taking over, and bis are taking over, and trans are taking over, and people of color are taking over, and people with different political opinions from you, and maybe, but anyway, okay. So don't think this has gone away just because there's been a quiet period where we stopped, attacking each other for 2 minutes. We still have global warming, by the way. California is still burning.
California at a record level.
Absolutely horrible. So anyway, the point is that the president was feeding on those fears and adding fuel to the fire and adding fuel to the fire. That is not leadership, guys. That's giving people what they want so they will give you what you want. Is power. Is this about power. So now the president doesn't look so powerful right now because the Republicans lost the House of Representatives. Now, of course, he's blaming everybody but himself, which is typical because the ego always does that. It says, Now, by the way, I'm not being partisan. Some of you may think, oh my God, Granny, you're being so partisan. I'm not talking about Republican ideas, Democratic ideas, progressive ideas, independent ideas, green ideas, libertarian ideas. I am talking about a way of being in the political, social arena to rev people up against one another, and that is an abomination because that goes against the very thing we need, which is to build a caring and loving society. But okay, so we've had a pause, and it doesn't seem like that Mack truck ran over more and more, notwithstanding the fact that a couple more Republicans got Senate seats. We don't even know how many, maybe 1 or 2. But we do know that there were a lot of people of different varieties who did get elected. And there are people who are speaking up, of all blues and reds and greens and all of that, who are saying, let's return to some civility. You know, I think I read that there was a 17% increase in hate crimes in the last year. 17%. You know, we need to not be feeding that. But the question is, what do we do? See, it's not going to stop. The people who have been distressed and who feel defensive and who are scared and who are looking for the leader, right, who's going to protect us from the swarms of whomever it is now, those people are still scared. And we still have global warming. And I just read that maybe 10 million more people are going to die of starvation in Yemen by the end of the year. And I don't know if those figures are accurate, but it's pretty darn bad. Those people are starving to death because of a war that we're in. And there are so many things that we need. We need to help people with their addictions to get off, that treadmill. We need people to get health care. We need a lot of things. And so we're only at the beginning of this fight, and it's a fight for a better world. See, and that's what I want to talk about today. I want to remind us that what we have is a pause. And in this pause, we need to start thinking and talking about where we're going. It's not enough to be against Trump. I said his word, his name. We have to be for something. And what are we for? I mean, I think all of us in our hearts, whoever we're voting for, really want a more loving world for us, for our kids, for everybody. And there is some common sense that is associated with that, which is the world is not more loving when people are hungry, when people are deprived of their health care, when people are put in prison, recklessly, when racism is rampant. I mean, it is not a more loving world, not only for those who are the direct victims of those behaviors, but for anybody, because the environment is so hostile, and we're all hostile towards each other, and people will always rebel against being oppressed. So there's a lot of work to be done. I'm not going to answer the question today about what we're going to do, but I want to start talking about it. And I'm going to be talking about it next week and the week after that, and I'm going to talk about what we can do. But the first thing is to say, yes, we have a right to relax for a second, and now we have to get to work. Mm-hmm. So that's my commentary for today.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
All right.
So what would you like to do next? Would you like to
answer some questions? I would go on, except that I do have people who asked me questions last week, and I didn't get a chance to answer them. And I think the first one is from Madam Mazurka, is that correct? Yes, the
first question is from Madam Mazurka.
So while you're reading the question, Madam Mazurka is going to come from the dead, right? She's not me. I'm not responsible for anything that she did or said. She was on the show 2 weeks ago.
On Halloween night.
On Halloween night. So go check that one out if you want to, because it was so fun. And that was the first time we had the piano on the set and all that. Mm-hmm. Okay. Hello, darling.
Well,
it's about time. I thought she'd never step aside. Oh, my God.
Okay. The first question is from Todd Benton. It says, hello, Madam Mazurka.
Hello, darling. So glad that you wrote to me and not to her.
I've been a scaredy cat for most of my life, and I'm trying to break through that right now. I know it's as simple as just do it. It isn't complicated, yet I seem to have trouble being direct without being a jerk. I've been able to do it sometimes, but I'm inconsistent. I realize that I need to connect to myself and feel the strength of the universe to support me. Is there anything else I am missing?
Well, I love that. You want to be strong without being a jerk. I mean, isn't that perfect, following the theme of what I've been talking about today? Really strong people are not jerks. Really strong people are loving people and people with understanding and wisdom. That's what makes them strong, not being jerks. Jerks is so you have an association
Now, what does Madam Mazurka think?
Beth took over.
Beth took over.
Darling, what happened? You just pushed me aside. Thank you. Oh, I
you're so
love men.
welcome. Love you too, Madam
You
Mazurka.
rescued me. Well, see, I wouldn't have answered that way. No. I would have said, you're a cat. You could be a pussycat. You could be a lion. You have to decide whether you're going to be a pussycat or a lion. See, step aside, Beth, and all your counseling. So, here's what I suggest. Completely different. You visualize yourself the way you want to be, which kind of cat you want to be.
Oh.
Hips look cool cat, or the pussy cat, or the tiger cat, or the lion cat. And I want you to see yourself, because the lion, he is, I wouldn't want to be in the same room with one. Don't misunderstand me.
So
No,
how
no.
did you do that without being a jerk?
Well, you visualize yourself as lion with the big heart, the courage, the real courage, because the scaredy cat is scared. That's why he's a jerk, right?
Oh,
You see, if he
right.
wasn't scared, he wouldn't need to be a jerk. He would just look at things, he'd understand them, and he would act and go forward with confidence and calm. But the scaredy cat is like, "Woo!" See? So you visualize yourself as a lion, darling. And feel yourself as powerful. And feel in your heart, what is your power? And so then I would say, since I'm going to give a little bit of real guidance, you say, what in me is strong? Where is my strength? Where is my lion? Todd, the lion-hearted,
Yeah.
right? And start feeding the lion instead of the kitty. You see, you will never turn from one to the other if you keep feeding the kitty. And that's all I got to say. And no, that means I'm done. It's over, because I think I heard rumor
Sorry,
that
Madam Mazurka,
well,
but
the
the next
other
question is for Granny.
Oh God. Oh no. So let me tell you something before I go. If you want me or you want her to answer a question, you have to ask.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to the post. They call it the post, but it's not the post office. It's the post on the Facebook, and there's a link, and it says, submit your question to Granny, but it should say submit your question to Madam Mazurka. Anyway, you click on the link, and you're at this site, and it says, oh, you must submit, but not, oh, submit to me, darling. Oh. So you submit your question, and if you want Madam Mazurka to answer it, you say, dear Madam Mazurka, and if you want her to answer it, you can even say, dear Granny. You don't have to say nothing, because she is going to assume it's for her if it doesn't say it's for me. So write this down. You should definitely submit your question to Madam Mazurka, and otherwise I'm going to have to go to sleep again, because I'm dead, and I only come out when in these occasions, and I'm very bored, and I've told you this before, and nobody is listening, and nobody cares. That's the uncaring society you have. Do you care that I sit there rotting away decade after decade unless you ask me to come out? So
It's enough to make a grown man cry.
it is, it really is. So anyway, don't forget to submit your question, and Granny will, or I will answer in the order they come. So get your question in. You can ask a question in anything. It can be personal, it could be even political. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm leaving.
Bye-bye. Well, now,
Wow.
well, we're getting
I'm just
back
in
to Granny.
shock that I pushed Madame Mazurka right out of the picture.
You did.
My God. And now her scarf
you
is
took
entangling me. And now I can't even get back to being Granny
It's the
or
revenge of the Mazurka.
Exactly. She won't leave. This is so obvious she won't leave. This is a headset that you're looking at,
There you go.
right? So that I can
One
talk
more.
into it, and it's got all kinds of
One more.
wires. And I thought I was doing this going to be so easy. I figured out exactly how to do it easily, but I
Just
didn't
about
figure
got
out
it.
how to get out of it
Just
easily.
about. There
I'm
you
going to
go.
have to practice.
There you go.
There we go. This,
Good one, good
this is my long hair.
So now that Granny's back, would you like to play some music or would you like to take the next question?
I will take the next question.
Okay then. This is from Anonymous. Hi Granny. So I'm taking a college course right now that is really pushing me. And
Oh,
is
by
really
the
hard.
way,
Yeah.
Madam Mazurka didn't tell you. You can submit your question under your name, or you can submit it anonymously.
Anonymously.
Right? Like
That's
this
right,
person.
Like this.
See?
Exactly. Easy peasy.
So, easy peasy.
So this college course is really pushing
So
me. and
say
it's
this
really
again
hard.
because I just blitzed
Oh,
out.
okay.
Right?
Here we go.
Okay.
I'm taking a college course right now that is really pushing me and is really hard. In just 8 weeks, that is normally a 16-week course. I find my anxiety is really starting to flare, and I'm having trouble keeping calm when I have so much to do. What would you suggest to keep calm during this time of stress?
You mean other than smoke pot or do something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea because I don't think any of those solutions as much as of a solution. So, wonderful question, wonderful question. Well, is there anybody out there who doesn't feel like they have too much to do? I do. I have too much to do.
And I have too much stress.
Me too. So I totally understand how you feel. And it doesn't have to be something extraordinary. It can just be every day, right?
Yeah.
So, now, question. Do you need to take this class? See, you have two options. One is to change reality, or the other is to change your reaction to it. I mean, that's your choice, right? Those are the only thing. Or to drug yourself or something like that. And that doesn't solve the problem either. So we're eliminating the third option, which is drugging yourself and trying to go, which is only going to make you more problems because then you're not even there, but you don't feel as stressed. You're just like floating. Have you ever done that?
Yes.
Right, okay. So we don't want that. Or eat a cookie, which is going to make you even more anxious, gives you the moment of, I'm okay now. But after that, rest. So what I say is other than that option, which isn't really a very good option, you have to say, this class is too much for me and I can't do it. Why the heck did I sign up for this class? It's too fast and it's I really can't do it. Well, if you really can't do it, don't do it. Don't do it. Do something else. Take a different class. Sometimes our egos tell us, oh, you should do this. This is going to prove that you're really smart. Or this is going to redeem yourself for being such a lazy bum in high school or whatever it is. You have to prove something to yourself or to the people around you or to your mother or whatever. Forget that. So you may say, this really is too much for me. And then, no, guess what? The stress is gone. Okay. Have we ever had to do that? Like
Yes,
all
we
the time,
have. Yes,
frequently?
Hey, if there's a 16-week version instead of this 16 into 8 weeks version, why not?
Right. Or if you have to take that one, then dump something else that you're doing. See,
Create more time.
Create more time. Look at it honestly and say, do I really need to do this? Is there some other way that I can actually make this an easier time for me? Now, supposing the answer is, I do have to do this, I really want to do this, I really can do this. Well, first of all, if you can't do it, don't.
Right.
It's I can't do this. It's like, oh my God, I can't admit that I can't do this. Oh my God, what would that say about me? I can't do this. Well, there's a lot of things that I can't do. I mean, a lot of things. Wouldn't you say that's
This
true
we
for
know.
you too?
This
So
we know.
there's a lot of us who can't do everything. Okay, so we can say that I really can't do it. But if you say, I really need to do this, you've determined that you actually can, because see, even if you say, I really need to do this, you may not be able to. That means you can't, right? I mean, it's just an astounding idea. For instance, supposing I'm in a wheelchair and I say I really have to walk again on my own feet and without some kind of special machinery. I really need to do this because my plan was to be a long distance runner or something. well, maybe you can't do it, even though you think you have to. Maybe you have to do something else. But then on another level, so if you don't want to or can't or don't have to change the reality, then we have to deal with the stress. So I'm going to show you a little tool that I use and that a lot of people that I know use because I've shown it to them. And it's right in my book, Living with Reality, which is a free download on the website. See, theinnerrevolution.org. That's our website. Theinnerrevolution.org, like it's one word, right? And this is a free download, and this book will tell you something that you can do in order to eliminate a lot of stress, which is to look at what is underneath the stress. For example, I have to prove something, right? So I picked up this technique somewhere along the line. I was reading something, and there was this little piece about I release the need to something and brush your chest. And that became the foundation of this tool that I developed and that theinnerrevolution.org has developed, which is I release the need to. For example, let's say I have to prove myself by finishing this class. So then I can say, you put your hand wherever the tension is. Tension? Who has tension? It could be here. It could be at your groin. It could be in your shoulder. It could be in your heart. It could be anywhere. So let's say, I release the need to prove myself and brush out that energy, the need to prove myself, and breathe in. I release the need to prove myself. You do that 3 times. I release the need to prove myself. And then you say, why? Because I don't need to prove myself. Or because there's nothing to prove. Or because proving myself is just a stupid idea that I picked up from my father, or whatever it is that you have. And so now you're actually going to, what is the stress under the stress? Is it just that you need to finish the class? Is it that you need to prove yourself? Is it that you have to get a good grade in order to feel good about yourself? And then you say, well, I need to do the class, I really do. But do I really need to get a good grade or the best grade? I release the need to get the best grade in the class. I release the need to get the best grade in the class. I release the need to get the best grade in the class. Because I don't need to get the best grade in the class. Where did I ever get that idea? So you see, you keep digging. What is the cause of the stress? Or it could be I release the need to do everything else perfectly while I'm trying to do this class. See, that could be another one. I release the need to do everything else perfectly, so on. So you do that release, and it's not just that the release is going to help you, but it's also that you are going to realize what is making you so tense about this. Stress is not only circumstantial. A lot of our stress is internal, that we are thinking or feeling something that make things stressful that don't need to be, or don't need to be as stressful as they are. So I am going to review that 3-part answer. Number 1 is you take pills, take drugs, eat cookies. Nah. Number 2, change reality so it's not so stressful. If you really can't do it, admit it. And go on with your life and love yourself anyway. And the last but not least is get to what is exactly so stressful about it. What's causing the stress on the inside? Like having to prove yourself. And then you could even look below that. It's like, why do I need to prove myself? Because if I don't, I won't love me. See, and then it could be I release the need to prove myself because I don't need to prove myself in order to love myself. Thanks for your question, and I hope we hear from you again.
Well, that's about the end of our time.
Okay.
Would you like to tell them about Granny's Kitchen?
I would like to tell you about Granny's Kitchen. Well, Granny's Kitchen comes up 15 minutes after Granny's Place on Wednesday nights. That is 7:15 Pacific time. And it lasts 45 minutes now. We've changed it. So, and we get together, everybody gets together on a video conference, and the instructions are in the same post as, how to submit a question. And we get together and talk about my commentary, the questions that were asked, and the answers that I gave. And we always have a very deeper understanding of ourselves and everything when we're done. So I hope you enjoyed Granny's Place and that you got something out of it. And stick around and
you can join
share
either
this.
Online or in person.
Thank you. Granny's Kitchen. It's a video conference, and you can join it in person via the internet.
From anywhere.
Or you can call in if you can't do that, but hopefully you can. And you can do that anonymously too.
And Granny guides the discussion.
I do. I'm right there talking to you and answering questions, and we have a great time. And I hope that you share this program with everybody who needs to hear it, and that in the future you just keep inviting people. Share with people even during the broadcast so that people can come on and join the Granny Rocks Express.
All aboard.
All aboard. See you next week at 6:15 for Granny Raps on the News, Pacific time, 6:30 Granny's Place, and 7:15 Granny's Kitchen.
Yes. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.